Hello, this is Professor Scott Norman, and we have another installment of Gorillas in the Midst of the Automotive Industry. Today we have Mr. Greg Ebbs, a 2001 PSU graduate who is working for Nissan North America. Greg, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Glad to be here today.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, let's start off by telling the folks maybe where you're from, what high school you went to, and if you had any automotive classes going through high school.
Well, no problem, Scott. Yeah, I'm actually a townie. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Went to Pittsburgh High School, and I did have automotive shop classes by the one and only Mr. Elder. He was my high school auto shop teacher. So it all started with him.
Wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, Professor Elder now teaches with me, and so yeah, he says that he retired from the high school approach of automotive teaching. It was quite difficult, and he's obviously now enjoying life at the university. So, well, that's cool then. So you had some automotive experience coming from high school to PSU. So once you got to PSU, what area of automotive technology did you study?
Yeah, so my emphasis was in service management. Not sure if that's still part of the program today, curriculum, but it was a service management emphasis with a 4 years bachelor degree.
Excellent. Yeah, that's service management marketing. We now call that dealership manufacturing management. You get a minor in business, which is kind of cool. I tell the students that, you know, you still take your basic automotive courses, your engine class and your manual transmission class, your air conditioning class, engine performance, all your basic automotive technical courses, but you also get 21 hours of what I call automotive business courses. So take that accounting course, and you take that business finance course, and some dealership management course like service management, dealership management, sales management courses. That way you kind of understand how to run a business. A lot of our students, you know, they want to maybe start their own shop someday, and so that's a good option for them where they get the technical skills and the professional business skills along with that. So when you were at Pittsburgh State, did you get any automotive experience? Did you get any summer internships?
I did. When I started at Pittsburgh State, I was working at Creative Car Audio. It was a car audio mobile electronics retailer in Pittsburgh. Worked there my last couple years of high school, and then worked all through college except for my senior year. So that I got some great experience, great retail experience there, and was able to still work on cars, which is always fun. That was one of my passions with electronics. But my junior summer, I interned with, my senior summer, my very final senior summer, I interned with American Hot Air Motor out in Torrance, California at the corporate headquarters.
Wow.
Yep.
So what type of work did they have you do during that summer internship?
Sure. They had me doing, I was able to see a lot of different departments, like cross-functionally, to see how, motorsports work, warranty, customer affairs, and even tech line. But my real focus was the Acura customer client center. And I was, they threw me right in and had me reviewing campaign claims for reimbursement, which is really neat. So I did have a specialized job. I always joke I had a real job that summer, and I had a task that had to be completed, and it was right up my alley with car audio. So it was
wow, that's fun.
It was fun. It was fun. It was a great experience.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I'm thinking? You know, we got this 85 Chevy van that was donated to us by Chatter's, a local restaurant here in town. But we're talking about making it a mobile audio training lab. I may have to contact you at some point as far as tips on hooking up we're talking multiple audio systems to this vehicle for students to maybe diagnose and play around with. So again, too bad creative isn't in business anymore here in Pittsburgh, but yeah, I know exactly where that's at, and we had quite a few students work at that shop throughout the last years, and so kind of neat. That's a real neat experience. So I'm thinking, so next year is going to be 20 years for you, since you were here a student at Pittsburgh State University. So going back to that, that December 2001, what was the first job that you had out of PSU? Tell me your story between then and now.
Sure, sure. Well, the Nissan. I started with Nissan right out of college. Had a couple offers on the table, but really liked the product at Nissan and the people that I met. I actually met a number of Nissan employees when I interned with Honda. We had mutual friends, so they kind of pulled me in, if you will, and opened the door to Nissan when I was out there. So it's really unique how networking can help you almost always. It helped me open the door to Nissan. When my first job was out in California, I was like you, had a headset on. I remember those headsets in the customer call center. It was long before we had high-tech Bluetooth or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was taking calls from Nissan and Infiniti dealers across the country, giving them pre-approval on high-dollar claims like engines and transmissions and such, but then also helping them get claims paid that were tougher claims. Not your typical brake water warpage. It was difficult repairs that didn't easily go through our system on the first pass. I had to help them get paid. So great experience for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good first level job with a corporation like that, because I did the same thing when I started with GM in that type of environment, and you're with so many people and going to a new car company. There's so much to learn. You got to learn the product, you got to learn the terminology, you have to learn how to answer the phones and computers and expense reports, and there's so much to learn. And so being in an office environment like that, instead of just being thrown out somewhere by yourself, is a big advantage. To get you up to speed very, very quick about the whole entire corporate structure. And so that's again a great first level job. So tell me a little bit about what you did next.
Yeah. So the rule was, you had to be there at least 11 months before you could start posting for jobs. And while California was fun, and I was like 23 years old, single guy, wanted to get to a regional office, get closer to the business, closer to the dealers. And being from Kansas, I looked at a couple different locations, Dallas and Chicago. Had never been to Chicago ever in my life. And I had a couple friends that I worked with in California, said, "Hey, we got a job here in our region. Why don't you apply and interview?" And I did. And kind of the rest is history. I lived in Chicago, and I've lived in Chicago my entire regional career, but I've traveled and covered many different markets. My first market, a job that I had here in Chicago, I was the parts and service rep. At the time, we called them dealer parts and service specialists for the St. Louis Metro. So
Okay.
I, get everything ready on a Monday, pack up my bags, head to St. Louis, and I was there, 4 days out of the week. Lived out of a hotel, called on the dealers, Nissan dealers there, as their parts and service reps. So had great foundation with Pittsburgh State, and also with my job. My first job is a warranty call center specialist, to kind of give me some some good experience, really good experience on day one, to help calling on those dealers, promoting our parts and service, and then also helping them improve their retention and loyalty.
So how many dealerships did you have in that? I'm going to call that an entry-level field position. What does Nissan start you off with?
Yeah. So at that time, the size of the district was around 10 or 11.
Okay.
Our district size is rare, kind of average around 13 dealers. So it just depends, depends where you are geography, but we try to keep it around 13 at maximum in a district.
Okay. And again, many high school students, watching this type of program would not understand what I call a district service rep would do. They're going around to all the local Nissan dealers and, making sure that they're running a business profitable, making sure that parts and service obviously is being done correctly, the Nissan way, but they're buying, let's say, Nissan parts versus AC Delco parts or whatever, so you're going around. So I think that'd be a fun job, because again, you're in the dealerships every day. You are working with the product every day. You're working with people every day. You're out in the field, which, when I was doing that traveling, I loved it. Like you said, single, you're out, you got your company car, you got an expense, you got your American Express card, you're staying at these nice hotels. It's a fun life, that's for sure.
Yeah, you get to drive a new car every 6 months too, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you just got to get used to it because you're on the road a lot. But it's a great position. I had multiple field level roles while I've been here in the region, calling on dealers, and every one of them is different. You know, St. Louis is different than Detroit, is different than West Michigan, it's different than Chicago, and I always encourage anyone that's really going after trying to work for an OEM to have an open mind, of where you want to go and be flexible, especially if you have less things tying you down, because it makes you more well-rounded and you get to see and learn a lot of different ways to approach challenges and drive business.
Yep, I agree. And if you want to, again, build up the ranks of the corporation, that's one of the things with the OEMs is that you typically have to move around. Every couple of years you're doing another position, maybe a new location. Like you said, trying new things, learning how to, because again, the business is so huge. If you stayed in one position, you would never understand the entire business. You have to move around in order to be able to experience all that. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yeah, so fast forward 18 years here in the region. The last decade, and if I could, I've been on the variable side. So while my degree was in automotive technology and my background, my foundation was all after sales, I kind of got thrown into the sales side of the business, and I really liked it a lot. So I encourage, that kind of goes back to being open to change.
Yep.
When I came to Nissan, came to the region, I didn't want to be a sales rep, but it's funny how leadership helps guide you in the right direction. And if you're willing to try something different, which I was, it was a great experience. It makes me more well-rounded. But now I'm back to my foundation as the Midwest Region After Sales Senior Manager. So our region encompasses about 220 dealers from the Dakotas west all the way to Ohio east, down to Kentucky and west to Kansas. So we actually cover Missouri and Kansas today. But we've got 19 districts, so 19 field reps. While they don't report to me directly, it's a very, very tightly knitted, straight line where we, my team helps develop the strategy, implementation, and execution out to the field teams to achieve our goals. To drive parts and service profitability, accessory sales, customer satisfaction. And really parts loyalty, like you mentioned it, having them stock our parts and promoting them on the cars and selling them on the cars as opposed to the aftermarket.
Yeah, well, it's a big business. I know that, like for a big automotive manufacturer, the number one, way to make money is to sell cars, but the number two way to make money is to sell parts. And, if you pull the parts section off of the main corporation, it's a Fortune 500 company by itself. They sell a lot of parts and, put a lot of parts on cars, and obviously it's a very profitable business. And obviously you want your dealerships to be using good quality parts. Yeah, you don't want to go on the internet and buy, cheap parts that are made from who knows where, at what standards. So, you have standards you have to follow. So it's a big order to try to make sure all those dealerships are doing the right thing. That's for sure. Wow. So what was your biggest challenge? Just say going from service to sales back to parts and service again. Any big hiccups with that at all, or it's pretty easy from an automotive technical standpoint, we'll say?
Well, yeah, nothing in life is easy, right? But I would say the transition from at least recently sales back to service was a lot smoother than what I thought. And I've got a right-hand guy, Todd Zanica, that I work with that's, been in his position a number of years. And if I didn't have a guy like that, it would be tough because he's really helped me get up to speed. And he's such a good, coworker that on my team that, and what my point behind that is if you have good people next to you or around you, transitions makes things so much easier. But I can tell you, having the past experience in after sales did help. I mean, a lot of things had changed over the last 10 years in after sales, as you know, and as the students learn about in school there with technology and just the vehicles and even the business that's available to help drive more sales with e-commerce and things like that. But I think the hardest part was learning all the new programs, right?
Yeah.
Learning all the new ways to drive revenue. That was probably the hardest part. But once you get past that, um, it's it's all about people, driving engagement and getting people to see the goal and get rewarded, once they cross the finish line.
Okay. Yeah. I like to tell my students that one of the biggest assets they could learn while in college is to learn how to learn. Our automotive business, it changes every year, and technology changes all the time. And you may go from one job to another where you're going to have to do something totally different, and you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to be adaptable. You're going to have to learn a new way of doing things. You have to be flexible. And so those are all good skills because, again, things move around all the time, and you have to be prepared to jump in and do something that you're not maybe comfortable with, but you figure it out. It's kind of like what you said. You figure it out. You have good people to ask, how to do that and go forward. So my last question I'm going to ask you is that, you go back, 19 plus years, 20 years to that high school student, here at Pittsburgh, Kansas. What advice would you give a high school student thinking about, maybe a career in automotive technology?
Sure. Well, so first off, if you're interested in Pitt State, you're making a great decision. It's a very exclusive university. What I mean by that is there's not a lot of universities like Pitt State, and if you have the ability to get in and go there like I did, first off, you're making a great decision. And in college, don't expect to know exactly what you want to do. It'd be great if you had kind of a vision, but as we learned this year in 2020, things can change at a moment's notice. So you have to be flexible. But with that, I'll answer that again, kind of like how I interviews that I hold with candidates. I always say if you can do a few things really, really good throughout your career, whether it's in college or in your professional career, you'll succeed. One of that is network well. What do I mean by that? I mean, get to know your students, your fellow students really well. Get to know your teachers really well. Mr. Gordon was good about that. He was one of my professors, and he really said, "Hey, you guys need to get along with your teachers. You need to get along with your teachers. You need to network with them because it will be helpful. It will be helpful, and that's no different in the professional world." I would also say play nice with others. So that goes into the getting along and getting to know your fellow student colleagues well. That's very important. Similar to that, you don't have to be buddies with everybody, but you want to be a team player, and you want to be fair and empathetic. You don't want to be known as always having to be the first one to answer questions. You kind of want to be known, but also be a leader. So. Those are two main key pieces of advice that I can give potential students. I want to throw one more in there though. Yeah. In the summertime, find some work and find some work in automotive. So whether it's creative core audio, like what I did, or whether it's being a service advisor at Pittsburgh Ford, which is what I did one of my semesters in school, work in the trade. You could even be cleaning cars at a dealership or an independent. That's fine. Employers are looking for that. And us specifically, if we see someone with good automotive experience and someone that was able to make a difference, in that summer job, I'll put them above someone that did not do anything that summer, that they could have. So hopefully that's helpful.
Wow, that's great advice, Greg. It really is. Yeah, we tend to push our students and tell them that they need to get their entry-level automotive job while they're still at PSU. Maybe their freshman year, maybe it's their sophomore year, but start off changing oil, sweeping the floor, washing the car, whatever it is. Hopefully by your third or fourth year at PSU, you've done a couple of jobs, so you're ready for that big job at Nissan or something like that. If you don't get your automotive foot in the door right away while you're in high school and college, and if your first job out of high school, or out of PSU, it's not going to be at a big company. It's going to be, entry level at a dealership or something like that. So yeah, it's really good advice on that. So, well, our time's about up, and so I wanted to let the folks know that if they are looking for more automotive type videos like this that helps explore careers in the automotive industry, you can visit my YouTube channel. It's Professor Pentane. Pentane. And if you look for gorillas in the midst of the automotive industry, under that channel, there's probably at least a dozen different interviews with PSU alumni that explores all different careers in the automotive industry. Hey, Greg, it's been great. Thank you very much. I know you're a busy man. Enjoy the holidays. I'm looking forward to talking to you in the spring sometime.
You too, Scott. Have a Merry Christmas. Thanks.
Okay, you too. Goodbye.